NFL on Fox welcomes you to Seattle, Washington. The Seahawks off to their best start ever, aiming to stay undefeated at home and hosting the Minnesota Vikings and Adrian Peterson. Set to kick off Week 11. The sun is out for now here in Seattle. Cordero Patterson, the rookie, back to receive. Stephen Hauska to kick off. The Vikings won the toss, and they want the football.
This may be the loudest place in the world. Wow.
Leslie Frazier said the noise is a factor. We have to do something about it. And they'll have a chance. Maybe the reverberation of that sound knocked the ball off the tee. With Tim Ryan, Jennifer Hale down on the field. Chris Myers welcoming you to Week 11 in the Pacific Northwest. Some of you saw the Eagles beat the Redskins earlier. And ready to go. Patterson is bringing it out. Cordero Patterson up across the 30 to give the Vikings excellent field position, averaging 35 yards a return, and the Seahawks one of the best when it comes to kick coverage. Christian Ponder with the dislocation in the non-throwing shoulder is wearing a brace. Now, he said the mechanics are not a problem. Contact, we'll wait and see when I get hit.
Yeah, and he didn't take a hit all week in practice, said the shoulder was not an issue. His style, though, is a run-around mobile quarterback, makes plays with his legs. He's going to take some hits today. See how he holds up.
Adrian Peterson knocked out short of the line of scrimmage. Red Bryant, the run stopper on that Seattle defense, made the play. In the Viking offense, Patterson starting for Jerome Simpson, who got into legal trouble, and Greg Jennings with an Achilles, a late scratch. Jarius Wright starts at the other receiver spot.
Well, this offensive line is going to have to play great. I mean, limited now, wide receiver, this crowd noise, that defense. Charlie Johnson, Phil Lodeholt back in the lineup should help.
2nd and 11. Peterson. He gets outside a little bit. Rocked out, or he might still be running at the 36-yard line. Earl Thomas, leading tackler on the Seahawks, wouldn't let him go. And the Seattle defense giving up an average of just under 16 points a game. That's third best in the league.
Now, they're a great defense. They've got the best secondary. If there's any holes at all, it's consistently controlling the ground game. Those linebackers will have to be on point as tacklers against the great Adrian Peterson today.
3rd and manageable. They need 4. Christian Ponder. The ball's out. And the ruling on the field, we've yet to see incompletion. That is a fumbled football. And Seattle has it. The fumble forced by Cliff Averill.
Man, here's Cliff Averill right here. He's just going to run the corner on Phil Lodeholt and just reach out with both hands and swap that out. And let's look. Definitely that ball's out before Christian Ponder started the forward arm motion. That's a 23rd takeaway by this defense, one of the best in the NFL.
And because it's ruled a takeaway, obviously replay confirming automatically. And from the 33-yard line, once confirmed as the Seahawks take over.
Those offensive tackles, I mean, what a challenge against all those speed rushers for the Seattle Seahawks, and you couple it with the crowd noise and their ability to beat the offensive lineman off the snap. Hardy is playing a big role.
Russell Wilson has yet to lose at home in his career. Seahawks going for their 13th straight home win, which would be a franchise record.
Ready? Go!
Encroachment. Defense, number 9. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
The call on Fred Evans, back off a knee injury. That fumble recovery, by the way, Quentin McDonald for Seattle after Cliff Averill caused the loose football on Ponder's pass attempt. And it gets easier for the Seahawks from the 28. Now first down 5.
They have been so good, and when they get takeaways, offense capitalizing and scoring touchdowns, one of the best in the league at it.
Marshawn Lynch to the 30 and a gang of tacklers inside the 30. Came in averaging 4.5 yards a carry, coming off his best performance of the year, 145 yards against Atlanta.
And he is just going to drag 3 Minnesota defenders an extra 3 yards. And you said it, the last 2 games, he has reignited beast mode, just the power, the balance. And that's what Jared Allen said. He goes, Russell Wilson's good, Seattle, the crowd, it's all great. It all starts with stopping number 24.
After a gain of 8, the ball's loose. Lynch has it back, and then it's out again. Let's see if Lynch got to it.
Boy, this will be huge. Minnesota can somehow gather that ball, and they don't.
Fred Evans caused the fumble. It looked like Max Unger came back up with it after Lynch couldn't gather it in.
Defensive lineman, you got to get penetration against this Seattle front, and that's as good as it gets right there with Fred Evans, just blowing through that gap between the center and the guard and knocking that ball away from Marshawn Lynch.
You can see the sun breaking through in the shadows, but we did have some misting, some light rain, making the field slick in spots prior to the kickoff and maybe making it difficult to hold on to the football. 2nd and 22 from the 32. Russell Wilson in the pocket, floating it for Curse. Incomplete. Xavier Rhodes was covering. The Seahawks run it more than they throw it, and Doug Baldwin starting for the injured, continues to start for the injured Jerry Rice, but Golden Tate has really come on.
Yeah, Sidney Rice is out for the year, and we're going to see Percy Harvin today. Excited about that, as the Seahawks are. The offensive line finally healthy. Russell Okung, Breno Giacomini back in the lineup together for the first time in a while.
On 3rd down, Lynch brought down around the 32-yard line. Kevin Williams, coming off a big game against Washington, made the stop. Here comes Stephen Hauschka, who is 22 of 23 field goals, leads the NFL in scoring this season, and the only one that he's missed was blocked. That came in the Seahawks' only loss against the Indianapolis Colts.
Boy, if they miss this, if Hauschka misses it, what a big play by Fred Evans, pushing him back and making this a longer field goal opportunity.
A 50-yard try for Hauschka. John Ryan is the holder. He got it. Seahawks take advantage of a turnover, fumble by Ponder. Viking defense holds, and they end up with 3. Today you'll see, in the last 3 years, 2 of the most dominant running backs in the league, Marshawn Lynch and Adrian Peterson, taken in the same draft, actually worked out together through a stretch in Arizona, have kept in touch over the years, and each has carried the load for their team. Last year, of course, both of these teams, playoff teams, will be watching how they handle it today.
Remember, it was about this time last year, Adrian Peterson put this Minnesota Viking football team on his back and carried them to the playoffs. Exploded on this field, as you said, for 182 yards in the game here last year.
Hauschka getting ready to kick off, and back to receive again, Cordero Patterson. We welcome those of you that watch the Steelers knock off the Lions in Pittsburgh 37-27. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers in the NFL on Fox. After a quick Ponder fumble, Seattle settles for 3 and getting ready to kick off. The Vikings, one of 3 teams, a playoff team a year ago, starting out 2-7 so far. Patterson Peterson, who came in averaging 35 a return, will not get a chance after the opening return set up the Vikings beyond the 30-yard line. You talked about Peterson having that big game last year. Also, this was the last game as Christian Ponder comes back after the fumble where Percy Harvin played, period. He was a member of the Vikings. We will see him as a member of the Seattle Seahawks today after his hip surgery. Peterson goes nowhere.
Talking to Leslie Frazier yesterday, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, I said, Leslie, you look at everything, and Ponder's going to have to play good, and certainly better than he played here last year. And we all know how good AP is, but your offensive line, I said, when you boil it down, this game is on your offensive line. Handling that speed on the pass protection, moving guys in the run blocking. He said, no question, challenge them every day this week. They got to be their best.
Peterson again. Well, the Vikings did get Phil Lodeholt back at right tackle. They, of course, are missing Kyle Rudolph. John Carlson at tight end coming off his best game. But somebody else is going to have to step up other than Adrian Peterson. And Ponder playing with that injury, part of him running around with the football is a weapon, but with a dislocated left shoulder could be an issue.
Think of the monumental challenge for Christian Ponder today without Greg Jennings, those young wide receivers against the best secondary in the NFL. Who's going to get it done?
On 3rd and 7. Pass is caught. There's somebody to get it done. Their top pick, Cordero Patterson, who's starting in place of Jerome Simpson, who will get to play, and we'll find out this week whether he will be suspended by the league or the team will take action.
Nice job by Christian Ponder, being patient and just hanging in the pocket and letting Cordero Patterson flash open versus Byron Maxwell. Excited for this guy. I mean, he is certainly the most talented, physically talented wide receiver on the football team from Minnesota, getting his first start today.
Ponder on the move, caught by the tight end Carlson, the one-time Seahawk who has developed in the passing game after Rudolph's injury.
Really happy for John Carlson. Going to come from the backside and just run the over route. Come across the field with the bootleg action. Had his best game as a Minnesota Viking. Targeted 7 times last week against Washington. Caught all 7 balls and had a touchdown.
Jerome Simpson checks in at receiver after a gain of 15. Peterson almost broke it into the secondary. KJ Wright brought him down before he got to the 40. Peterson comes in averaging 4.5 a carry.
I'll tell you,
9 touchdowns this year.
And really the problem with him, and the numbers aren't where they were last year, Chris, is defensively they have struggled in games, and it just takes Adrian Peterson and his impact right out of him in the 4th quarter.
3 tight ends. Christian Ponder runs out of bounds. Last year, in the early moments of the game, he went for 70 plus, didn't quite get into the end zone, wound up with 182 yards in the game. It was early November when the Vikings and Seahawks met. Seattle, of course, won that game 30-20. 3rd and 4 from the 41 of the Seahawks. Toby Gerhart gets the carry and has a first down inside the 35 of the Seahawks. Bobby Wagner held on to him.
Looks like they caught Michael Bennett and rushing the passer. I mean, Michael Bennett for the Seattle Seahawks is playing pass the whole way. He gets upfield, gets caught, gets pushed out, which opens up a nice running lane. Gerhart picks up the first down.
Bennett with 6.5 sacks leading that Seattle defense up front. But from the 34, first down Vikings. Gerhardt stays in. Christian Ponder in trouble. Gets rid of it. Brandon Mebane was all over him. And there's a lot to be over.
Mebane coming right here from the nose, and he's just going to go by John Sullivan. Great work with his hands. Sullivan initially had him locked out and blocked, and Mebane, oh my goodness. You know what my pops used to say, must be jelly because jam don't shake like that.
I never heard that. After a collision is knocked down. Bruce Irvin made the play, but I think the noise may have had something to do with the confusion in that backfield. It'll be third down.
Boy, and he was right up against it in terms of the play clock. That ball snapped just on time. Clearly a miscommunication as he ran into Adrian Peterson.
Since 2005, 127 false start penalties on opponents, the most in the NFL. The noise is that difficult to deal with. Here comes a flag.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
It's on load hold, and that's now 128 false starts since 2005. And there's the confusion I was talking about.
The factor of this crowd noise, and you know, it's all about one Sunday at a time. But if you think big picture and home field advantage and the opportunity to gobble up home field advantage through the playoffs, this crowd, this 12th man, huge.
They need to get inside the 25. It's third down from the 43. Ponder is going deep in the area of Jerome Simpson, and there's a flag down at the 15-yard line. Jerome Boger, our referee.
Hard to see if Richard Sherman reached out and grabbed Patterson as he was running a post corner. He dipped inside and then went to cut back outside, and it was Richard Sherman reached out and grabbed him, or Jerome Simpson, excuse me, right here. And it looked like he did and spun his body around. And
pass interference. Defense, number 25. Spot the foul. Automatic. First down.
The call on Richard Sherman. And that is the most tied for coming to this weekend. Pass interference calls. They're an aggressive defense. You call them the best secondary in football. You risk your reward. But now, from the 15-yard line, the Vikings are set up after a 28-yard penalty. For Cordero Patterson. And kind of an interesting throw from Ponder, who again said he wasn't in any pain and he practiced well. And the shoulder, the non-throwing shoulder, not affecting him.
And that's a dive bomber right there.
Second down 10. Adrian Peterson will lose yards.
Yep.
Tony McDaniel.
But Tony McDaniel is going to get the credit for the tackle, and it was a nice play. But having the big horse, the mountain of a man, Red Bryant, back in the lineup is going to be huge for these guys. Watch what he does to Red Ellison. I mean, you take a tight end and you jack him 3 yards into the backfield, and the running back's got to go sideways. your help's going to get there. That is awesome by Red Bryant.
3rd and 13 from the 18. John Carlson, bottom of your screen. Gerhardt, the running back. Christian Ponder in trouble. Gets away. Inside the 15 and goes down where it'll be 4th down. The Seahawks already with 3 sacks in this game. And a fumble that Leslie Frazier's team had to battle to keep Seattle from getting into the end zone. Pete Carroll wound up with a field goal. Now Blair Walsh will try and even the score. It'll be from 32 yards. He's made 13 of 15 this season. Vikings and Seahawks are tied here in the opening quarter.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
We're glad you're with us. Always treated well in Seattle. Often better than the opposing teams who come in here. After the field goal, Blair Walsh for Jermaine Kearse. Hit hard, spun around at the 16-yard line. Tough special teams hit. As the Seahawks and the Vikings are tied at 3.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Seahawks welcoming back 3 starters on their offensive line. Their starting unit all together for the first time since week 2. From the 16-yard line. Russell Wilson to throw and right on target across the 20 is Luke Wilson, the reserve tight end. Shoved back by a couple of Vikings. So we're talking about Russell Okung, Max Unger, and Breno Giacomini returning. And Russell Wilson did a terrific job with the guys that filled in on that offensive line.
He sure did. And so did Tom Cable and coaching guys and having guys ready to step up. The Michael Bowie's, the Alvin Baileys, all of those guys. But you said it. Russell Wilson has been a huge Band-Aid for their O-line issues up front.
2nd down 3. Marshawn Lynch fighting hard, but it'll bring up a 3rd down. Let's head to Joel Klatt for a game break. Joel?
Chris, we head to New York, where Eli Manning and the Giants are looking for their 4th victory in a row, and he finds Reuben Randall for the 26-yard touchdown. 7-0 Giants over Green Bay. Back to Seattle. Chris and Tim.
Thank you very much, Joel. Here it's 3rd down and 2. 3.5 to go here in the opening quarter.
There he is.
Harbin has checked into the game for the first time in more than a year. Russell Wilson goes down in the arms of Brian Robinson, his 4th sack of the season.
That's what you got to do to Russell Wilson. And this is really about this guy. Robinson's going to get it, but watch Everson Griffin, number 97, and his spin move and push on J.R. Sweezy. There was nowhere for Russell Wilson to go. And Leslie Frazier said it all week long in those defensive linemen's ears. Be disciplined in your rush lanes. Do not give the escape doors for Russell Wilson. He'll take them.
The NFL's top punt returner, Marcus Sherrill's averaging 16 yards a return with a fair catch. And the top return team, the Seahawks, have only allowed a total, which is an NFL fewest here, a total of 15 return yards on punts this season. A 45-yard punt without a return. The Vikings are on offense.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan, innovation that excites. By Chili's, new Chipotle garlic butter steak. And by Rise, Son of Rome, exclusively on Xbox One.
A good look at the Space Needle part of the scene here in Seattle. Already 3 sacks of Ponder from the Seattle defense. 1st down, Minnesota. Peterson trying to get loose. Tackle made across the 37-yard line. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers. And you know, the last time, even though the Seahawks are undefeated at home, but they had to rally in overtime to beat a then winless Tampa Bay team. So the Vikings are hanging on to the idea of hanging around in this game.
Well, and they'll need to. I mean, the second quarter is where Seattle's defense has been exploited all season long. Offensively, they've been slow starters this year.
Batted away, and what are you seeing early from Christian Ponder and the shoulder effect?
Well, I think that we know he's a runaround quarterback, so he's going to continue to do that. He has taken some hits. I was curious to see if he was going to hold up, not taking one all week long. So far, so good for Christian Ponder, but Adrian Peterson at some point, Chris, is going to have to take off and roll for this Minnesota football team to take pressure off of Ponder and those young wideouts.
3rd down and 9. For Peterson is incomplete. Adrian has 7 carries for 13 yards.
And it looked like they had something set up on that screen. Inaccurate throw from Christian Ponder because Michael Bennett blew through there so fast. It just screwed the timing up. He had to get rid of it early. The ball sailed. Adrian Peterson couldn't get it.
Last time a 66-yard, 13-play drive that netted a field goal, and now Golden Tate back to receive the punt of Jeff Locke. It bounces. Tate has it, and he's down right away. A.J. Jefferson on the special teams play. After a 43-yard punt, Seattle will take over on offense. Victims of the recent typhoon in the Philippines need your support. The American Red Cross distributing relief items. And Doug Baldwin came out. He has relatives in the Philippines carrying the Philippine flag. Go to redcross.org or text Typhoon 90999 to give a $10 donation. On 1st down, Lynch with the catch and is brought down right away. Russell Wilson comes in with 17 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, completing 63% of his throws. There's no sophomore slump, having a better year, an improved year over what was an outstanding rookie year, guiding Seattle into the playoffs.
And with all the issues they've had up front with their offensive line and the injuries, I mean, you put his complete game together, and I think Russell Wilson right now is the top 3 quarterback in the NFC.
Green 80! Easy. Alert! Back to! Move 15! Move 15 shot! Oh.
On 2nd down, 8. Open, sideline, complete, Doug Baldwin. Inside the 30.
Then you factor in the deep shots that Russell Wilson takes and how he's able to hook up with those receivers on the perimeter. And to me, it just really puts him in the top 3. He's going to get one-on-one coverage to the outside. Xavier Rhodes, the rookie, falls down. Baldwin runs right by him, and another good throw from Russell Wilson.
Half of Russell Wilson's completions are 20 yards or more. That was 44. That's the most in the NFL. You don't think of him as a deep thrower. 4 wide receivers in for Seattle at 1st down at the 31. On the move and complete. Ricardo Lockett. One of those 4 wide receivers.
And that's where Russell Wilson really exploits defenses, when he gets outside the pocket and he's extending the plays without pressure. He is lethal. And Minnesota this year has had a huge problem containing the quarterback. It looked like it was going good early in this game. It's one of the first times Russell Wilson popped to the outside. Minnesota paid for it.
A 27-yard gain. The Vikings are giving up 31 points a game. That's the worst through 9 games in Minnesota history. Marshawn Lynch, touchdown.
Watch this player right here, Sendejo at safety, and watch how he falls inside, and then here comes the cutback, the vision from Marshawn Lynch, and there's nobody home for the Minnesota defense.
Coming off the best back-to-back rushing games in his entire career. Lynch with his 8th touchdown of the season, and Hauschka for the extra point to give Seattle a 10-3 lead and a close to the opening quarter. That is the end of the opening quarter in Seattle. Seahawks lead the Vikings 10-3. In Seattle, after Marshawn Lynch and beast mode, it becomes feast mode with that defense. And Lynch going over to talk to those guys. Between the noise and the frenzied play, it could spell trouble for the Vikings.
And you love that. I mean, this team is so tight, a band of brothers. Marshawn Lynch, because he doesn't talk to the media, Chris, very misunderstood. His teammates love him here in Seattle. Keeps it light, bit of a team clown, obviously a great back.
Jermaine Kearse, who took a hit on that punt return, has a concussion for Seattle, unlikely to return at the moment. That's Cordero Patterson, who averages 35 yards a return on a kickoff, has a couple of touchdown returns this year. We'll see how Hauschka treats it. 5 yards, 6 yards deep, he's coming out. And Patterson does a lot of work to get back to the 20-yard line. Let's head down to the field of Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, you could tell Christian Ponder was thinking an awful lot pregame about that dislocated left shoulder. He was keeping it in constant motion, rotating it, stretching it, but his body language has truly changed as this game started. It's as if he's totally tuning that shoulder out as well as the injury. One interesting note, it popped out of the back, not the front, and certainly he's getting a lot of advice, a lot of folks in his ear, including Josh Freeman and Matt Castle today, Chris.
Thanks, Jen, from the 20. Peterson the back. He carries and swarmed under after a gain of a couple. Peterson has yet to get going, and really neither is Christian Ponder. First the fumble on the attempted pass, running into his own running back. He's also been sacked 3 times.
Yeah, and then here throws the dive bomber, and maybe a good thing, or Walter Thurman picks that one off for Christian Ponder. But I'll say this about Christian Ponder. He has played better this year. He had the rib injury early in the year. Of course, the shoulder from the last game. When you really break him down, he is a better quarterback here in his 3rd season.
Patterson has it, puts a move on, knocked out at the 27-yard line. 6'2", 220. He's a big receiver.
And he can get from 0 to 60 in about 2 steps. He is unbelievably physically gifted. You know, he's a one-year wonder at Tennessee. He was a junior college kid, 1 year of big-time college football. And the more he plays, the better he's going to get, because his mind's going to start to match up with all those physical skills.
Adrian Peterson stays in on 3rd and 3. Ponder's throw complete. That's a first down at Jarius Wright across the 36-yard line. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
All right, Saints and Niners. Drew Brees to tight end Josh Hill, 3-yard touchdown pass. 10th different Saint to have a touchdown receiving from Brees this year. They're up 7-0 on San Francisco. Chris and Tim.
Thank you, Kurt. And obviously, the Seahawks worried about Minnesota now, but after a bye week, they then get the Saints and Brees, and then the 49ers. Peterson carries. Fights his way to get up to the 42.5-yard line before K.J. Wright brings him down.
I'll tell you one thing about this Seattle defense, and you go to the Bucs game, you go to the Rams game, when they were gashed in the run game and had certain troubles at the line of scrimmage, they refocused on their tackling, and they started working on it in practice. Pete Carroll started preaching it. Frankly, they got a little soft in those 2 games as tacklers. Not anymore.
From the 42 of Minnesota.
Ponder takes a shot here.
And open is the tight end John Carlson with a first down at the 38-yard line of Seattle. He played for the Seahawks 2008 through 2010. Was working behind Kyle Rudolph before Rudolph injured his foot.
Here's Carlson here, and he's going to come and just break this zone down. Seattle doesn't play a lot of zone coverage. They've chosen to play some today, and they get into that 3 deep look, and that's the area of the field where the tight end can really make hay.
Gain of 20. Ponder rolling, going deep, and open. Jarius Wright, touchdown Vikings. For Jarius Wright, his first touchdown catch this season, 38 yards. It brought a hush over the crowd.
Look, you can get these guys on double moves, and here's Jarius Wright, and let's watch the double move. Boom, a little out and up. Of course, you need time by your quarterback to let that develop in terms of time to throw. Ponder bought time rolling out, throws a nice ball. They're right back in this game.
Extra point by Blair Walsh. If you missed it earlier, Greg Jennings was a morning scratch because of an Achilles, and that's why Wright is starting. Last week, Richard Sherman against Atlanta, Matt Ryan didn't throw in his direction the whole game. Christian Ponder evens things up in Seattle. A happy Jarius Wright, who beat one of the best corners in the game, and Richard Sherman. Robert Turbin back to receive the kickoff and has it from the goal line. Turbin gets up across the 20-yard line. Christian Ponder's already surpassed his yardage total for the entire game in Seattle last year.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by PlayStation. Greatness awaits in stores now. By Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by Ameriprise Financial. More within reach.
Tim Ryan, Chris Myers back here in Seattle. Pete Carroll enthusiastically talking to his cornerback from the 21-yard line. Marshawn Lynch is brought down. Now Seattle, we mentioned Jermaine Kearse with the concussion out, and then there's a flag down already without Sidney Rice. So Doug Baldwin, who was the third down receiver in the starting role, now they do have Percy Harvin back.
Yeah, but they wanted to limit his snaps and not turn him loose. First game for Percy Harvin in a year. You got to protect Percy from Percy. Heck, he wanted to return kicks in this game today. Pete Carroll said, no way. You got the bye next week, and then, of course, want to have everybody ready for that 5-game run to finish it up.
Pete Carroll first said, I'll sleep on it, which was like a parent's way of saying no, a polite way. Trying to sort out the flag here. Marshawn Lynch has a touchdown run for Seattle, and then moments ago the Jarius Wright third career touchdown catch. The throw from Ponder and a couple of field goals, and that's where we are. Just over 11 minutes here in the second quarter, tied.
And you know what? Richard Sherman, Chris, I think he's the best corner in the league. He's got a pass interference call on a double move and a touchdown on a double move.
There's no foul or a chop block on the play. The players were adjacent to each other. Second down.
And that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to beat Richard Sherman, it's about the stop and goes, the double moves. Your quarterback needs time to do that. Ponder was able to get out of the pocket and buy himself some time, but Richard already with the pass interference that set up the first field goal, and then, of course, beat there by Jarius Wright, who came into this game with only 13 receptions with a double move touchdown.
4 wide receivers now with Marshawn Lynch, the back. On 2nd and 10 after no call on the flag. Russell Wilson is going to move. Here comes a flag going downfield and all over the receiver. Here comes another flag on Percy Harvin. It was Josh Robinson.
And it may be a double whammy. Everson Griffin first. Jumping the snap count.
Could be a hold on.
You may be right.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference. Defense, number 21. Holding. Offense, number 76. Those fouls all set. Replay, second down.
Call on Josh Robinson in the secondary, Russell Okung on the holding.
And that's just speed against speed right there. Josh Robinson never turns around and looks at the ball, has contact, and then here's the call, the holding call. Great get off by Everson Griffin, and just slow him down from spinal tapping the quarterback. Russell Okung wrapped him up and held it.
Spinal tapping. Lynch carries, and there's a big hole. Marshawn Lynch. It took a neighborhood to bring him down near the 45.
Well, a couple things. Great block here, and then the nose tackle gets upfield, and you're going to see a huge crease right there for Marshawn Lynch.
Well, tackling has been an issue for this Viking secondary and linebacking core. And for Lynch, a 23-yard run. Tim, he has the most runs of 20 yards or more this season. That was his 29th. From the 44-yard line, first down, Seahawks.
Go scoop.
Russell Wilson for Tate. Josh Robinson was back there with him.
Russell Wilson's going to take 5 or 6 shots deep per game. And this is on the last drive. Finds Doug Baldwin down the sideline. Of course, now he's rolling out to his right, buying time, and finds Lockett on the crossing route, and that ends up being a touchdown. Feeds it to Marshawn Lynch with a huge hold of the backside.
Robert Turbin checks in at running back. Percy Harvin splits in the slot. Turbin the carry and knocked down short of the 45-yard line, where it'll bring up third down. Russell Wilson also has run well, averaging over 5.5 yards a carry through the first 10 games of this season. Best record in the NFC at 9-1. And have a chance today, if the Seahawks win, to set a franchise record with 13 consecutive home wins. Wow. And that is a wow.
Hey, 4 down. Hey, 3rd down. 3rd down, bang.
Minnesota up front will work hard to put the corral around Russell Wilson and keep him in the pocket.
Pressure coming. He gets rid of it for Harvin. A juggling catch. Oh, mercy.
Pretty darn good throw by Russell Wilson with people in his face. Great concentration for Percy Harvin. Come down with that football, lined him up close to the line of scrimmage, just ran a little over route. Look at that throw, just over the hand to Chris Cook.
A 17-yard gain. Turbin remains the back. All the way inside the 40 of Minnesota.
Good shot. Boom.
Russell Wilson has it in the pocket. On the run, throws and open. Zach Miller.
Russell Wilson is so hard to stop. I mean, you want to keep him in the pocket. He's getting outside. You do your job, and then he just comes right back inside as he's getting hit from behind from Jared Allen, and unloads another really well-thrown football.
A pickup of 34 from the 5-yard line. That's the spot. 1st and goal, Seahawks. Doug Baldwin, bottom of your screen. Marshawn Lynch the back. Lynch has it. Fights to get down to the 2. Looked like he might lose yardage.
Boy, they got to tackle better. Minnesota. You go back and watch their games this year, and they have been a poor tackling team. The most missed tackles in the NFL. Fred Evans does a great job getting upfield and hitting Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch ends up getting something out of nothing. Should have been a negative play.
Lynch already has 1 touchdown in this game on 2nd and goal from the 2. Lynch has it. That's how the Vikings were ready for him. It'll be 3rd and goal. Viking defense allowing 279 points through the first 9 games, the most ever in franchise history. Trying to stop him here. 9th play of the drive, and 3 tight ends in for the Seahawks.
Yeah, keep your eyes on this one right here, Zach Miller.
Lynch the carry. Lynch, a touchdown.
Nice block there by Zach Miller on Brian Robinson, just getting enough push to the outside, and then there's the movement right there, and stays with it with great effort, which allows Marshawn Lynch to surge into the end zone for a 2nd touchdown of the day. Well done.
Seahawks lead by 7. 9 touchdowns this season for Marshawn Lynch. On 3rd down, Percy Harvin's juggling catch helped the Seahawks drive keep rolling. 79 yards, just over 5 minutes in the go-ahead touchdown for Marshawn Lynch. But Harvin traded a 1st, a 3rd, and a 7th round draft pick and signing a new deal in Seattle, his first game back. Patterson has it. Cordero Patterson almost broken.
Well, I think Robert Turbin may have just saved the touchdown with that shoestring tackle.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Fox tonight, the next evolution of cop dramas is here. Don't miss the groundbreaking show the critics are raving about. Almost Human, the 2-night premiere, starts tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. Toby Gerhardt in from the 29-yard line, 1st down Vikings.
He takes a shot down here.
That's Cordero Patterson. Gerhardt the carry, and gets up across the 30-yard line. Well, the Vikings statistically so far, everything pretty much even except on the scoreboard with these hometown Seahawks.
And of course, Adrian Peterson has yet to break one wide open in terms of a long run. He's not even averaging 3 yards a carry. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for Christian Ponder to take shots on this Seattle defense.
Defense is doing their job against the star runners, except for keeping Lynch out of the end zone. The pitch to Peterson. And Peterson, what a tackle. Byron Maxwell, who started for Brandon Browner at the corner spot, took care of Adrian Peterson.
Good block out on the edge, though. It looked like Red Ellison was able to create the edge for Adrian Peterson. Looked like he was ready for one of those big runs till 41. Maxwell picked him up and slammed him to the ground.
3rd and 2.
Huge they convert this.
Peterson's got the 1st down, and then he went back. They're going to spot it for the 1st down up to the 40. And that was huge, Tim. You could feel the crowd and the avalanche ready to come tumbling down on the Vikings if they don't maintain possession here. 11 carries, 30 yards for Adrian Peterson. Peterson. Right at the line of scrimmage, Camp Chancellor coming up from the safety spot. No gain.
once again. I mean, he's just going to push Ellison to the side. They force Adrian Peterson sideways, and the pursuit catches up nice.
Toby Gerhardt in. They fake to him. Ponder throws and completes. The fullback Felton gets up near midfield and near a first down.
You know, they're making
a first down.
Excuse me, Chris. Making it relatively easy on Christian Ponder with some of these zone coverages. I mean, I thought coming into this game, the ambition would be slam the door on the run game, play man, and make Christian Ponder make tight, accurate throws versus a great secondary. We're taking some of that pressure off with some of these zone defense looks. Here's the man that you're looking for.
Adrian Peterson falls forward for a couple of yards. For Christian Ponder, this is his 4th straight start, his 7th overall, and he told us it's my job to hold on to. Matt Castle came in, they got the victory over Pittsburgh, then there was the Josh Freeman experiment. He's inactive today, but Ponder has to stay healthy, and part of his game is running around.
Well, what did Mike Holmgren, the great coach here in Seattle for so long, tell us? He said it starts 32 through 40 where you really find out if your quarterback's the real deal. This is start 33 today for Christian Ponder.
On 2nd and 8, Peterson has the ball and is knocked down at the 46. Again, it's Chancellor. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5.
The speed of this defense is wicked.
Vikings need to get to the 40 for a first down. Nearing the 2-minute warning.
Let's see if they play some man coverage or they're going to line up in zone here.
They're going to let it run down. Control the clock. And with 2 minutes remaining in the first half, the Vikings facing a key 3rd down at Seattle. Coming up, the Visa halftime report with all the highlights. The Eagles win over Washington, the Lions losing in Pittsburgh, and the latest on the 49ers and Saints. Peterson looking on 6 defensive backs for Seattle, 3rd and 5.
And here's the man coverage across the board for the Seahawks.
4 wide receivers for Christian Ponder. Floats one, and in the face of Patterson, here comes a flag.
And that's a good call. Jeremy Lane had Patterson wrapped up.
Cordero Patterson was open.
Pass interference. Defense, number 20. Spot the foul. Automatic. First down.
And Jeremy Lane, here's his mistake. He never turns to locate the ball. And there can be 0 contact with that defender on a wide receiver if the DB's not trying to make a play on the ball.
Cam Chancellor getting over late. He was involved on stopping some of the running plays up near the line of scrimmage the last 2 plays. First down, Vikings in field goal range. Joe Webb in motion. Ponder, pass is caught. Jerome Simpson trying to break a tackle, goes nowhere. The swarm of Seahawks bring him down.
Plenty of time here and 3 timeouts on the board for Leslie Frazier in Minnesota.
He said we wanted to play a keep-away game from Seattle, try and control the clock of the ball. Well, so far they're winning the time of possession by more than 6 minutes.
Which is unusual for them all season long. One of the worst at ball control. The key to that, though, Chris, has been 3rd down. They're 4 of 7 on 3rd down in this game.
2nd down, 9. The ball's fumbled. On an awkward pitch, Peterson got it back. The only turnover in this game was a fumble by Christian Ponder in the opening moments.
And that's just behind Adrian Peterson. I mean, one he probably could have captured, but not a good pitch from Ponder.
We're going to get a timeout here. Pete Carroll's team wants the timeout. Leslie Frazier facing a 3rd down with 56 seconds to go in the half. Seven-yard loss on that botched pitch to Adrian Peterson. The Vikings coming off, extra rest, that Thursday night win against Washington. And the Seahawks coming off one of their more complete performances, a road win at Atlanta. But Minnesota hanging in there with the team with the best record in the NFC. On 3rd and 16 for the Vikings from the 28-yard line of Seattle. 5 wide receivers, all that are active on the roster, are on the field.
Which means 5-man protection. Christian Ponder cannot take a sack here and get pushed further away for a field goal opportunity.
Ponder underneath to Joe Webb, who goes out of bounds, and that doesn't accomplish a whole lot, maybe a few yards for a field goal try, as Blair Walsh, who made one earlier, will come out with 52 seconds and line up to try and get the Vikings a little bit closer. Ball is spotted. It'll be a 45-yard field goal try. He hit from 32 earlier. There is a bit of a breeze. He comes through, and the Vikings trail by 4. They have played keep away from Russell Wilson and the Seahawks for much of this first half. Tonight, join Jay and Dan on Fox Sports Live. All the scores and highlights. A recap of the NFL games, the updated BCS rankings for college football, of course, and college basketball. First full weekend. Fox Sports Live tonight, 11 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. And to find Fox Sports 1 on your provider, go to foxsports1.com.
How about those USC Trojans last night? How much fun was that to watch?
Yeah, Pete Carroll, of course, and Richard Sherman from Stanford.
Oh, Richard, I talked to Richard before the game.
Yeah.
He did not want to discuss the game last night.
Yeah, he said Nerd Nation was on the rise the last few meetings. Well, USC took care of that in the discussion as Percy Harvin somehow talked his coach into going back to try and return a kick. He's standing in the end zone.
This one's going out of the end zone. Come on, Pete.
Harvin bringing it out. And there's a big hole. Percy Harvin into Viking territory. Wow.
He said he wasn't going to do it. Pete Carroll couldn't help himself. Turning Percy Harvin loose. You know, you block a little harder when you got a return guy like Percy Harvin right up the gut. Look at this huge lane. And Minnesota lucky this one doesn't go for 6 points. Marcus Sherrills saves it.
After a year of sitting out of playing in an NFL game, a 58-yard return. He had the big 3rd down catch and all 3 timeouts, 2 for Seattle. Minnesota has all 3 with 40 seconds to go. Spinning forward to the 42 is Robert Turbin. And we're going to get a timeout here, so each team, Seattle will be down to 1 timeout remaining.
Tell you what that Harvin return just did is it just pumped some juice right back into this crowd.
Well, since 2009, Tim, Percy Harvin 4th in the NFL in total yards. He does a lot of things well. First 4 years of his career with the Vikings, caught 20 touchdown passes, rushed for 4 touchdowns, and took back 5 kickoffs for touchdowns, and was happy, smiling in Seattle with his new contract.
I'll tell you, the thing about Percy Harvin is you've really got to be mindful of his touches, because at his size, you'd love to give him the ball every time, Chris, but at his size, he is reckless the way that he plays.
So Seattle has 1 timeout remaining. Robert Turbin the back. They're at the 41 of Minnesota. Russell Wilson underneath, complete. Inside the 30 is Turbin. Now they're set up for a field goal. Here comes the final timeout of the half for the Seahawks.
Unbelievable how Russell Wilson just sees the whole grid, the whole football field. He's already hit at least 6 different receivers in this game today.
A 12-yard pickup there. 7 out of 9 for 144 yards for Russell Wilson. And there's Hauschka, who made a season-long 53-yarder That was indoors. Pete Carroll says usually 55 is the range. And he hit one in Indianapolis of 50 yards. Visa halftime report coming up. Kirk, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, Michael, the guys with all the highlights and latest stats. The Raiders winning today. 49ers that moved in front of the Saints. They'll update that game.
A couple of nice throws in this game from Christian Ponder, and of course Minnesota's offense certainly helped by 2 big pass interference calls by the Seattle secondary.
Robert Turbin, bottom of your screen as a receiver. Right now you're looking at a 47-yard field goal, but they might want more. Inside the 20, Zach Miller. No timeouts now for Seattle. Marshawn Lynch with a couple of touchdowns here in the first half. And for Leslie Frazier's team, Christian Ponder, a touchdown pass to Jarius Wright.
No timeouts left, 16 seconds. There's really just one option, I think, for Seattle. You take a shot into the end zone and then bring your field goal unit out and kick it. There won't be enough time if this ball stays on the ground in the field of play.
End zone throw for Baldwin. Touchdown!
Russell Wilson sees the 2 deep coverage and just puts it right in the honey hole to Doug Baldwin. Baldwin's ability to come up with unreal clutch catches all season long for his quarterback, Russell Wilson. He is so underrated in big situations.
At 5'10", he went up and grabbed it for his 3rd touchdown catch. He's more than just a 3rd down receiver now. And in less than 50 seconds after the Viking field goal, the big return by Harvin, the touchdown pass to Baldwin, and the extra point on the way.
I mean, you can't throw it any better than that if you're Russell Wilson. Over the corner and just before the safety gets there. Awesome.
The extra point, who cares about a field goal? 19 yards. Russell Wilson with his 18th touchdown pass of the season. In a span of 38 seconds, the Seahawks add to their lead.
And Pete couldn't help himself with Percy Harvin, could he?
Well, it paid off for him.
It sure did.
And Seattle gets the football to start the second half. So even with Jermaine Kerrs out with a concussion, and he has been ruled out of the rest of this game, Tim, that's the official word from the Seahawk bench. Russell Wilson not afraid to air it out.
Just think of all the confidence Darrell Bevell and Pete Carroll have in that cat right there, Russell Wilson. You got 16 seconds left. You got no timeouts. Your only option is to throw it into the end zone. And Russell drops a dime for 6 points.
10 seconds remain. Cordero Patterson, we mentioned, has 2 touchdown returns. Last time he nearly broke one. They'll keep it away from him. Toby Gerhart smothers it for Minnesota with all 3 timeouts. Well, Christian Ponder is held up okay. Adrian Peterson and Marshawn Lynch, for the most part, Jim, they've been held in check. I mean, Lynch has the 2 touchdown runs, but no major runs. And obviously the early turnover put the Vikings in a hole they've yet to dig out of.
Absolutely, and they're doing a pretty good job on Marshawn Lynch, as you said. Lynch has got 29 yards rushing in this game, 23 of those on 1 carry. It's been okay for Minnesota defensively.
And the Vikes will go to the half, trailing by 11 when they had cut into the lead.
Problem is they can't stop Russell Wilson and his ball distribution, spreading it out everywhere with big plays.
Seahawks trying to keep their streak alive in Seattle. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime report. you back to Seattle. The Seahawks will receive the football with a 24-13 lead over the Vikings. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers. There's home field advantage, and then there's Seattle home field advantage. But the Vikings have done a pretty good job against Marshawn Lynch, but Russell Wilson, they can't bottle up.
Well, they've been able to bottle him up. That's the whole thing. I mean, their ambition was to keep Russell Wilson in the pocket today. He's only really hurt him one time outside the pocket. He's 8 for 10 inside the pocket. Maybe it's time they take a few more risks. Aaron Henderson, other guys coming up the middle. Send that extra rusher to get Russell Wilson to the ground, because even out of the pocket, 7 different receivers, he mixes it up. He's playing great.
And Percy Harvin, who returned the kick that set up the touchdown right before the half, is back out there in his first game in more than a year. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL.
I just love it. Coaches will always tell you when they get a player like Percy Harvin, a guy who's, questionable in terms of his real health, yeah, we're going to limit him. We're going to be cautious. Once that guy's in uniform, coaches can't help themselves.
It's a pooch kick, and it's taken in at the 30 and returned up across the 36-yard line, where Seattle will take over. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, I asked Coach Pete Carroll, what did Percy Harvin say to you to convince him to let you return kicks today? And he said, well, it was really Jermaine Kearse going down with that concussion. We needed someone, plus we needed a spark. It was the perfect recipe to allow Percy Harvin to return to those duties a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, Leslie Frazier wanting to make sure his offensive line does a better job of opening holes for Adrian Peterson the second half. That was the message at halftime. Let him go, get him amped up. Also getting pretty cold down here. Lots of players warming themselves up by the heaters. We'll see how that factors in, Chris.
All right, thanks, Jen. Robert Turbin in, fake to him. Russell Wilson on the move. Incomplete. Zach Miller, the intended target, and at the half checking the numbers. And Russell Wilson, they haven't been able to contain him. Whatever you want to say, he's thrown for 173 yards and a touchdown. And when they have bottled up Lynch, he has 2 short touchdown runs. Wilson has found the open man with big plays.
What's shocking is you look at how outstanding these 2 backs are, and you got 43 and 34 yards rushing by either side. Look at Big Red. Brian taking that whole heater up.
Warming up. Jen said it was cooling off down there. At least it hasn't rained since the game has started, as Lynch is knocked back down to the turf. Fred Evans. And there's a flag down up at the 42.
Tell you what, Fred Evans is controlling the middle part of that offensive line. He's playing really well so far today.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 83, 15-yard penalty, the down counts, 3rd down.
That's on receiver Ricardo Lockett.
'83, Jamarcus Sanford comes and gets a little push on him late.
Now, if Jermaine Kearse is in the game and he's ruled out because of the concussion, Lockett may not even be out there.
Unnecessary. That should have been unnecessary softness. Barely even touched him.
It's still a penalty, and the Seahawks, the Seahawks are one of the more penalized teams in the league, but they only have 3 today. 3rd and 25 after the dead ball foul. Pass complete, Zach Miller, and he'll be stopped short of the 30 and short of what it would be a first down. So the punting unit comes out onto the field. Now remember, John Ryan trying to keep it away from Sherrills, who's one of the top punt returners in the game, came in averaging 16 yards a return. And it's worth pointing out again, because the number's staggering to me, Tim. The punt return team of Seattle had only allowed a total of 15 yards in 10 games.
Look at that, 1.4. I was talking to Pete Carroll about it before the game, and he said it's this guy right here. The coverage is great, but John Ryan is outstanding.
This one's high in the air and a fair catch called for. There's a flag down back inside the 25 of Seattle.
How much better can it get than that? With that hang time, the ball drops in just as your cover guys are getting there.
During the kick, holding, kicking team, number 49. The 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. Minnesota keeps the ball. First down.
That call is on the long snapper, Clint Gresham. And the special teams coach, Mike Prefer, says we'll take the gain. It is a first down after the penalty for the Vikings on offense.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
Anytime you come to Seattle, the gloves are off, and the Vikings trying to hang in there. They had the option of forcing Seattle to re-kick, but John Ryan is so good that with the fair catch by Sherrills and the penalty, at least for the moment, they're accepting it at the 35-yard line.
And we've seen more huddles out of the referees than we have out of the offenses today.
Do they have a no huddle in their playbook?
Look, can we please play the hurry up tempo game?
Why isn't he smiling? Now they're going to talk with Leslie Frazier. And it should be a simple decision if the penalty is what they called, Tim. Either accept the yardage or re-kick.
I think part of me thinks that Leslie Frazier wants him to re-kick it. It looks like there's a good chance now after the talk here with Jerome Boger that that's going to happen.
There was a question on the previous foul being re-kicked. Minnesota has elected to take the penalty enforcement from the end of the kick with a 10-yard penalty against the kicking team. First down, Minnesota.
So it's going to be spotted right where it was going to be. After all that, I thought that was all decided before the huddle. From the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Vikings trailing 24-13. The breeze is kicking up a little bit. Ponder fakes to Peterson. Throws on the run and completes. Joe Webb with the catch. Let's go to Joe Klatz with an update.
Chris, Chicago. This game is 5 hours old. Featured the hour and 53-minute delay for severe weather. Justin Tucker ties it up in regulation. We're in overtime, and the Ravens have punted the football in their first possession back to Chicago. Back to you in Seattle, Chris.
Thanks, Joel. On second down, 2. Peterson stopped at what looks to be third and maybe a yard. Joel, keep us updated on all the other games going on. The Giants are leading Green Bay. Miami leading the Chargers, and the Saints in front of the 49ers.
They just cannot open holes for Adrian Peterson. I mean, they have tried that lead play several times today with Jerome Felton, and he is getting no movement on the linebacker to clear the way for Peterson.
3rd and 1. They fake to Peterson. Ponder has it, floats. That's caught, but knocked out short of the first down is John Carlson. KJ Wright made sure he didn't advance it.
I talked a little bit about this at the start. I mean, this is a fierce tackling defense. And John Carlson, I think right when he caught that ball, he thought he was going to be able to turn upfield, push it past the line to gain. Nothing happening with KJ Wright all over.
Jeff Locke with the boot. Golden Tate waving everybody away. Hits a Viking, so Tate can run with it. And gets up around the 25-yard line. Under 12 minutes to go here in the third quarter, right, with a big stop to keep the Vikings from moving the ball downfield. So the Seahawks are on offense. Back in Seattle, starting to rain a little, and Marshawn Lynch can feel it in his gut.
Yeah, I told you he likes to keep it light, have fun. Look at this.
I don't think he wants his helmet to get wet for the moment. On first down, Lynch with his helmet out of the ball in his hands. Across the 31-yard line.
Boy, he is incredible. He runs like there's two of them.
Well, it's funny, Richard Sherman, they asked to compare him and Adrian Peterson. He said Peterson likes to run by you, Lynch likes to run through you.
I saw a great sign from someone in the crowd. They were holding it up before the game and said, "We'll trade for Adrian Peterson. He can come back up Marshawn Lynch."
Well, what a trade when they made the deal for Marshawn Lynch for 2 draft picks, a 4th and a 5th from Buffalo, and he's been a star in Seattle ever since as Lynch carries again. Those 4th and 5th round draft choices, those players are not active with the Buffalo Bills, and Lynch today, they've been tough yards, but he does have 2 touchdowns.
The beauty about him is just watch his feet and his legs. They're always split. He's always got a wide base. He's always got terrific balance, square through the line of scrimmage, running through with power. What's really improved since he got here to Seattle from Buffalo is his vision. That visor doesn't slow him down at all. He sees those open lanes. Slow to it, fast through it.
2nd in the league, yards after contact behind Peterson coming in. He's got a first down. A 12-yard run for Marshawn Lynch.
Now these defensive ends.
And there's the numbers coming in. The rushing leaders this season.
Incredible. These defensive ends for Minnesota better quit playing the pass every down and start squeezing the down blocks. Jared Allen was about 5 yards upfield that time. They just doubled on Kevin Williams. There was a huge hole for Lynch.
Clock runs on first down. Russell Wilson runs and slides wisely. In fact, Pete Carroll said, with what we learned, the offensive linemen were injured. We had receivers injured. Russell Wilson did some things. Our offense became less predictable. Of course, we like to run with Marshawn Lynch. That we know they run it more than they throw it. But now with what Russell Wilson does, even his scrambling ability with Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator, allowing him to throw so much on the run and out of the pocket, there's just no way to predict where they're going with the football.
Bandit. Guard it. Move, 80.
Robert Turbin is in. Knocked out right away. That time was well predicted by the Vikings and linebacker Marvin Mitchell.
Tell you one thing, you were talking about Darrell Bevell. I think he'll be a head coach here in short order, the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. He's been calling plays for a long time, actually called plays in Minnesota for Brad Childress as the offensive coordinator. And they've expanded their run game in terms of the volume and the variety of runs. Everyone knows it's going to Lynch. The question is, where's it going to Lynch?
All 3 receivers bottom of your screen. Lynch splits out as a flag comes down.
False start. Offense, number 24, simulating the snap count. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Looked like he was just jogging over to the Vikings sideline. It'll be 3rd and 15 from the 41-yard line of Seattle.
50. Hey, laser. Hey, slow. No. Laser.
Wilson's throw complete. Zach Miller short of the first down. With an 11-point lead, here comes the punting unit. Wilson nearing the 200-yard mark. He's 11 of 15 with 198 yards passing, and there's Marcus Sherrills. John Ryan will try and pin him inside the 10. Remember, the light rain is falling. Well done by the Seahawks. And John Ryan. And Jeremy Lane.
And that's that rugby-style kick, that end-over-end kick that drops and doesn't move.
Adrian Peterson and Marshawn Lynch have been held in check, but anytime those two runners get on the same field at the same time, it inspires artists like Seattle's own Kim Drew working on that. He might have to add a little rain in that painting or drawing. From the 7-yard line, Peterson to the 10.
Boy, it looked like Adrian Peterson had a big shot. If he would have just bursted right off the edge there, he would have at least had a 10 or a 15-yard run. Instead, he started going sideways in the hole and allowed the defensive leverage to catch up to him.
His longest run today, Tim, is 7 yards. He's had 16 carries. 2nd and 6. Peterson gets a first down up near the 19-yard line. Never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call star NFL to download it now. I was waiting to cue you. That's your job.
Usually you let me do 2 stars, but you said 1 star. I was a little unsure.
A dramatic pause. We're in Seattle.
There we go.
On 1st and 10 Vikings. Toby Gerhart in at running back. Gerhart the carry. Vikings are working the run game as if they have the lead in this game. They're trailing by 11 on the road.
Part of that's to protect their defense. Try to bleed that clock some and get their defense some rest over on the sideline.
48 yards rushing for Peterson. For Marshawn Lynch, he's got 49 yards rushing.
Press man, both sides.
Christian Ponder to throw, and does, to Jerome Felton, who's knocked down at the 25. Let's get a game break. Check it again with Joel Klatt. Joel?
Chris, it's finally over in Chicago. Robbie Gould, 38 yards for the win in overtime, and the Bears keep pace with Detroit. They go to 6-4. The Ravens, the defending Super Bowl champs, fall to 4-6. Back to Seattle. Chris and Tim.
All right, thank you, Joel. And there's the updated standings with the Lions losing in the NFC North today. Ponder's throw incomplete. There's a flag down, and it looked like somebody jumped pre-snap. On 3rd and 4.
And Ponder got shook up for sure.
Bruce Irvin's the one who nailed him.
Outside defense on the nose tackle, jumping into the neutral zone early. 5-yard penalty resulting in a first down.
That's a big penalty. It gives him a first down. Those 5 yards. Let's check the Irvin hit on Ponder.
Irvin's going to come from the top of your. That's Bobby Wagner right up the gut. Irvin came from the top, and Bobby Wagner came on an inside pressure.
A clean hit.
The linebacker spot, absolutely. And shellacked Ponder.
From the 29-yard line. Peterson trying to find room, still dancing around in there, maybe got up to the 34.
I think the book on Adrian Peterson, is awesome as he is, and he's his own best blocker now in terms of breaking tackles and getting yards after contact, is you can't take him up high though, Chris. And talking to these defenders for Seattle, talking to Pete Carroll, the best way if you're going to stop Adrian Peterson is you've got to get him below the waist and tackle those legs.
Peterson has it again. There goes Peterson. Across the 46-yard line, a first down at the 47 of the Vikings. Under 4 minutes to play. They've been able to work this drive with few passes.
And this one's just going to start to the front side and then cut back. Really, there was nowhere to go, but John Sullivan, the center, plays through the whistle. Brandon Mebane was actually in good position to make that play. John Sullivan stayed with him, which opened up that backside running lane for Adrian Peterson.
Peterson's longest run of the day right there, 13 yards. Christian Ponder has it and is on the move. He's going to keep it with that harness on the left shoulder and run out of bounds.
One thing about Christian Ponder, he's a fantastic athlete.
Came in averaging 6 yards a carry, and Tim, he's run for 4 touchdowns this year to go with his 6 touchdown passes, including one to Jarius Wright in the first half.
You know, I broke out an old story from a couple of years ago when he got into the league. I think he ran a triathlon at 9 years old. Lacrosse player, basketball, super athlete.
Here comes a flag as Peterson carries, and Adrian Peterson knocked down when he was trying to get the daylight by Cam Chancellor. Six penalties accepted on the Seahawks today. There's only been 2 on the Vikings.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 men moving prior to the snap, and neither got set. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Vikings will get an extra down here, but they'll be backed up a little bit. They need to get to the 43 of Seattle for a first down. They're actually helping the Seahawks chew up the clock, even though they trail by 11.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any of those perimeter screens outside from the Minnesota Vikings so far today.
Ponder to Peterson. He can't hold it. It was a high throw.
That was going nowhere anyway. K.J. Wright and Chris Clemens were all over it.
Now it'll be 3rd and 14. The green dot signifying the radio transmission. You see the defensive player who has it, and coming through, offensive coordinator Bill Musgrave.
Yeah, and the hands over the ears signify this electric crowd noise. The Ponder can't hear what's going on in his helmet.
They said there'd be less audibles with this noise. Ponder's throw is almost intercepted by Bobby Wagner.
Major bullet dodge there by Ponder. Christian Ponder, I think, Chris, made his mind up pre-snap. He was throwing there because there's no way you're going to throw into this bracket coverage on Joe Webb. Terrible route by Joe Webb. And Ponder is lucky that Wagner couldn't corral that and take it back for his 6-point house call.
Webb, who had to play quarterback in the playoffs last year when Ponder was hurt after Peterson carried him in his MVP year, as Locke puts it in the rain. And Golden Tate has it at the 15. And spun around and still going. And finally knocked down around the 20. Golden Tate does not have a catch in this game so far. Temperature has dipped below 50 degrees, and the rain coming down a little bit harder here in Seattle as the Seahawks, with a 24-13 lead, have a first down from their own 19-yard line. Marshawn Lynch with 14 carries, 49 yards. Russell Wilson's a throw. Golden Tate, his first catch of the game. He came in as their leading receiver.
Russell Wilson knows right away, one-on-one to the outside. That's a bust in coverage by Marcus Sherrill. Seriously, Sendejo is sitting in the middle of the field. It was a 3 deep, and he lets Golden Tate run right by him. That's easy.
Over 220 yards passing today for Wilson. 4 plays of 20 yards or more through the air for him.
Triple.
Good shot. On first down, it's Marshawn Lynch with room to run. And into Viking territory. Let's check in on the field with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, Percy Harvin's hip certainly seems to be bothering him right now. He spent the past several minutes on the bike, then with a trainer on the ground trying to massage it out. He's been sprinting up and down the sidelines. He is back out on the field, but obviously this is something he's having to fight through. Perhaps the falling temperatures and rain are partially in effect, too.
And, Jen, he's had 2 touches today that made them both count. A big third down catch for 17 yards and a 58-yard kickoff return.
Wait, 90. Wait.
On 2nd and 2. Lynch stopped just short of the first down.
Percy Harvin only a few touches, but they have been pivotal for this football team today. There he is, seeing all of his guys. Rick Spielman, the general manager, incredible third down catch right there, which keeps the drive going. 58-yard kickoff return. Sherrill saves this touchdown for Minnesota. Only a couple of touches, but they've been big plays for Percy Harvin.
And Harvin said, look, the MRI, they checked the hip, everything's fine. I just have to get back into game shape. It's like coming out of training camp in a preseason, the way Pete Carroll looked at his playing time. Wilson slides. There's a flag down and a second one thrown in.
There they lined Harvin up at fullback. Kellen Davis here for a hold.
Holding, offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty, replay, third down.
Well, that was 3rd and short. Now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And the Viking defense can take a stand here.
And here's the tight end here. Clemens coming in motion. Puts Jared Allen on his back. Used his hands and arms to do it.
The clock will continue to run. So back at the 44-yard line, Seattle will let it run out. And the third quarter will have the Seahawks leading 24-13, trying for that franchise record 13 straight home wins. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a break from your local Fox station. The team with the best record in the NFC, undefeated at home this year. Seattle trying to go 10-1, and they have kept Adrian Peterson in check, facing 3rd and 11 from their own 44-yard line. Tim Ryan, Jennifer Hill, Chris Myers, glad to have you with us on the NFL on Fox.
5-man protection. They got to get a shot on Russell Wilson here.
Pass is incomplete. Jared Allen got his arms up. And it will be a punting situation.
I love the call from Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator. He sees 5 out, empty backfield set. He's going to send some pressure up the gut, and that forced Russell Wilson with the inaccurate errant throw.
Wilson only his 5th incompletion of the day, as Marcus Sherrills hopes to set the Vikings up. John Ryan has kept the top punt returner from getting any room. He's waving everybody away, and it goes out of bounds. Official running to the spot inside right at the 20-yard line, where the Viking offense will take over. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league donates $100 each to the nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join this salute, learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. And part of the guys on our crew that travel every week that have served for our country in the Navy, the Army, the Marine Corps. Thank you, gentlemen.
Big respect for all you guys. You know that.
Peterson carries and goes nowhere. Tony McDaniel fogging up the middle for Seattle. No scoring in that third quarter. The Vikings got a field goal with under a minute to go before the half, but then the big Percy Harvin kickoff return and the touchdown pass Russell Wilson threw, and that's where we stand still at 24-13 here in the fourth quarter.
It's almost like Minnesota keeps running that lead play with Jerome Felton just leading the way for Adrian Peterson, just waiting for AP to pop a big one.
He's carried it 20 times. On 2nd and 9, Ponder from the pocket, intercepted. Bobby Wagner the 14th interception for this Seattle defense and their second takeaway today.
Chris, I got to tell you, I really wonder about Christian Ponder's vision to see when he's inside the pocket over the middle of the field. And you got two linebackers sitting right here around Adrian Peterson, and he tries to dump it off and throws it right to Bobby Wagner. I mean, it was all good. He stepped up in the pocket, bought a little time, and then unloads this and clearly never sees the middle linebacker, number 54, Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, who was drafted in the second round. Pete Carroll wanted Russell Wilson, so they said, hold on, we can get Wagner here. We'll get Russell Wilson in the third. John Schneider in the front office and the Seahawks have done okay. Russell Wilson with time, he can run. He'll keep it. And go out of bounds around the 5-yard line. Let's check in on the 49ers and Saints with Kurt Menefee.
Yes, and they keep going back and forth. Here's Colin Kaepernick in the third quarter, hooking up with Vernon Davis. 17-yard score. That puts the Niners on top, 17-14, right now late in the third. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. And the 49ers chasing the Seahawks in the NFC West. Remember, the Seahawks won the earlier meeting this year. In fact, the last home loss by the Seahawks was to the 49ers in December here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't this team, no. This team at home is a juggernaut.
Russell Wilson has yet to lose at home. On first and goal, he flips it to Marshawn Lynch. Touchdown!
I really don't know how you stop Russell Wilson. I'm serious. I mean, he is just all ball all the time, a football player. I tend to believe he could play more positions than just quarterback. He is just that talented. He gets it, buys time in the pocket, nothing's there, and he just flips it to Marshawn Lynch. Watch this. He's going to run up inside out, just flip it right in between two defenders. Third touchdown of the day for Lynch.
We all talk about Wilson's height. He's under 5'11". He said he has large hands, larger than most people, and that allows him to grip the football in all kinds of weather, especially in inclement weather, to do things like this.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did. By Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. That's why he went to Jared. And by USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families.
Marshawn Lynch with his third touchdown today, and that one is for the 12th man or somebody up there.
You got a guy with no pulse who caught it. Look at him. You got a flat line out with that. Just
even the Seahawk fans can catch the football. No chance for Cordero Patterson to run this one back from the 20-yard line. Marshawn Lynch, after scoring twice on the ground, 18th touchdown pass of the season for Russell Wilson. He hauled it in through the air. Christian Ponder and the Vikings playing catch-up all day. And it was the Bobby Wagner interception that set the Seahawks up in close range, and they punched it in to go up 31-13.
Talked about the speed of this defense, Chris, and here's what you can do when you have great speed. Watch this defensive end out here on the edge in Cliff Averill. Okay, I'm going to play the bootleg, the little crossfire with the tight end. You're not going to go there, and then I've got enough speed to burst up the field and affect your quarterback. So really, he takes two things away because of his speed, the tight end, then the quarterback.
John Carlson has it. It's hit hard at the 26-yard line. That was one of the things that Pete Carroll talked to you about after the two games where the team struggled. Seattle struggled at home with Tampa Bay and with the Rams. He wanted his team to be more physical, not, just completely hitting people, whether it's offense or defense. And now on 3rd and 5, the Vikings hustle to the line. Another interception, running it back for a touchdown, Walter Thurman.
One thing about these Seattle defenders, they're the best secondary in the NFL. Here's Walter Thurman. His eyes are going to be turned right to the quarterback. Watch him jump the route. Christian Ponder thought he was going to go with the slot receiver who released vertical. They were going to run Cordarrelle Patterson underneath. Walter Thurman didn't take the bait. It's a bad throw, a blind throw from Christian Ponder.
The extra point. You saw that shot in the crowd, a fan holding a sign, Boom, as in the nickname Legion of Boom for that secondary. Down Brandon Browner today, but Thurman steps up. And Christian Ponder suffers the interception.
Today's game is sponsored by Subway. Go bold with the new Subway Sriracha Chicken Melt today.
The 2-7 Vikings could only hang around for so long. Ponder's second interception, and this one returned by Thurman for the touchdown.
Time to pass it over to Matt Castle.
Both backup quarterbacks are warming up, and Cordarrelle Patterson won't have a chance to return. The Seahawks dominating. The avalanche has begun for the Vikings, and now Seattle in feast mode. Viking fans a little disappointed. Seattle celebrating a little early. 12.5 to go in the 4th. Matt Castle is in at quarterback, and that's been the story all day for Adrian Peterson. His 21st carry, and he's averaging just over 3 yards a pop. Castle helped the Vikings to their first win of the season when they played the Steelers in the NFL International Series. They won over in London. And he threw a couple of touchdown passes to Greg Jennings, who's inactive, and Ponder 13 of 22, 129 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. On 2nd and 11, Castle, it's incomplete. Hit as he threw. The pressure on from Seattle, and it came from Bruce Irvin and Red Bryant.
And I think the worst thing for Christian Ponder, and he's a really smart guy. We know that. He's educated, Florida State. Smart guy, good guy, fun guy to talk to. Is there's one thing you can't do in life, and certainly in football, you can't assume anything. And both of his interceptions, he assumed Adrian Peterson was going to be in the middle of the field. He saw nothing. And then the pick six at Walter Thurman, he assumed Walter Thurman was going to go with the vertical release route. No chance.
We're getting a challenge flag. Pete Carroll on the ruling of an incompletion. Now remember, if it was ruled a fumble, they would automatically review any turnover if it went that way, but it was ruled incomplete. And Pete Carroll not letting up. He obviously got some help from upstairs. Pete Carroll.
Seattle is challenging the rule of the field of a forward pass.
Pete Carroll this season, when it comes to challenging replays, he's been good 6 out of 7 times, and over 500 for his career as a head coach in the NFL. So on the field, ruled incomplete and challenged by the Seahawks. Tim Ryan, as you said, a bad challenge by Seattle. Mike Pereira, our rules official, says the same.
After reviewing the play, it is an incomplete pass. The quarterback's arm has started forward prior to it being hit by the defender. 3rd down, Seattle is charged a challenge and 1 timeout.
And here it is right here is Castle. And the whole thing, just watch the football in his hand as it starts to move forward right there. It's going forward before Bruce Irvin knocks it out.
You know, maybe Pete just wanted to show his players, hey, we're still in the game. Forget the score. Every moment counts. Every night's the Super Bowl. It's 3rd and 11 from the 19-yard line. Tipped. And another interception. Quentin McDonald, who recovered a fumble in the opening series of Ponder, has a deflection and interception from Matt Castle.
And it was Chris Clemens who got his hand up. Great job by Clemens understanding the situation, recognizing this quick little perimeter screen. Matt Khalil tries to chop him down. Always acute a defensive lineman that the ball's coming out quick. Gets his hand up, gets the ball hit, and McDonald comes down with it.
The 4th takeaway for Pete Carroll's defense. 3 interceptions. And Tavares Jackson is coming in to give Russell Wilson a break.
You said it earlier. I mean, when it starts for this Seattle team, it's really an avalanche.
Christian Michael, the rookie, who got some good work last week against Atlanta. Pete Carroll says he's making progress. A 2nd-round pick from Texas A&M, who's got breakaway speed, but who needs to learn a bit of pass protection. Tough carry here.
This guy, Marshawn Lynch, the beast. This is baby beast. And Christian Michael, because he is loaded with explosive talent.
Marshawn Lynch back in the game. And the Vikings went right to him. The Seahawks, the most points in a game this season. They put up 45 against Jacksonville. And Russell Wilson is ready to chalk up another victory.
Can you imagine that? 13 times at home. There's time to go in this game. You never assume anything, but it looks like he's going to be 13-0 to start his career at home.
Yeah, look at when you talk about just getting wins for a quarterback in his first 2 years. Ben Roethlisberger next on the list, and Russell's got some time to a few more games here.
Yeah, and I believe it was year number 2 for Ben Roethlisberger that Seattle went and played the Steelers in the Super Bowl and lost. I believe that was Ben's 2nd year in Pittsburgh.
Pass incomplete. Off the hands of Golden Tate.
You don't see that very often.
No.
That's a good thrown ball from Tavares Jackson.
Field goal try for Hauschka. On 4th and 3. Should the Seahawks line up that way, it'll be a 23-yarder. Just over 10 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Let's make that 26 yards. And the NFL's leading scorer tacks on 3 more. And the Seahawks have 41 on the board. Fox tomorrow. The battle against the Horsemen may have been won, but the war just beginning. Sleepy Hollow. It's one of the scariest, funniest, most electrifying hours on TV. Don't miss an all-new episode tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox. You know, I almost wore that today when I saw the temperature was going to dip. Fans are, I don't think anybody has moved left. They will hang and root and cheer and contribute to the howling noise.
Listen, the 12th man doesn't stop here. That number is retired for a reason, because they get a bunch of number 12s to rip it up. We were doing the game here last year. It was, I think, 50-0 against Arizona, and the booth was shaking at the end of the game. These fans rock it.
Percy Harvin wearing number 11. He wore number 12 as a Viking, and obviously, as you said, that number retired for the fans. 41-13.
And, you know, you've been saying it throughout the game today, undefeated at home this year, the Seattle Seahawks. You go back to last year, 8-0 at home, the only team in the NFL that didn't lose a home game. And this home field advantage, it's real.
Yeah, some teams, it seems like home field, other than just being at home, comfort, you know, here it really, there's places like New Orleans, it really makes a difference. And the Seahawks are making it count. Patterson's going to bring it out 8 yards deep. up across the 20-yard line. Checking some of the early game performances, Carson Palmer, the surprising Arizona Cardinals in the playoff hunt at 6-4. The Steelers and Roethlisberger knocking off the Lions and Matthew Stafford. But the performance of Russell Wilson, when you talk about sophomore, look at what Robert Griffin III is going through, a playoff team last year.
You just talk about everything Russell does. All the offensive linemen, having those guys out of the lineup for so many games, all the pressure that's on them, the ability to handle the whole offense as a runner and as a thrower. Really something.
Matt Castle completes to Gerhardt. Let's head down to the field and Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, the difficulties continue to mount for the Vikings. Their center, John Sullivan, is now confirmed out with a concussion for the rest of this game.
That's unfortunate, Jen. They just got, for this game, Phil Lodeholt back on the offensive line, so Joe Berger comes in to play center.
Well, and Berger had to fill in for Charlie Johnson last game. Charlie Johnson was out with an elbow.
And the Vikings, who have had a tough time here, play at Green Bay, which, right with Seattle over the last few years, one of the more difficult places to win for anybody.
Oh, yeah, their schedule's nasty now, the remaining schedule from Minnesota.
Gerhardt gets a first down and is in the clear. Toby Gerhardt inside the 40 of Seattle.
Biggest run of the day. It's going to start over here and then cut back. Bad angle from the safety coming up. Of course, it breaks through the line. Huge hole, double team, kicks Tony McDaniel down, and then the safety, Maragos, taking a bad angle. That's the biggest run of the day for Minnesota Vikings.
A 32-yard run. Adrian Peterson with 21 carries for just 65 yards. Gerhardt 4 carries for 44. Castle to throw, incomplete for Simpson. On the other side, Marshawn Lynch carried 17 times for 56 yards, but he does have 3 touchdowns in the game.
And I know Minnesota defense or offensively, they'll catch a lot of blame. Ponder will get a lot of blame. But when you really break this season down, and a playoff team last year and where they are this year, look at all those points. I mean, their defense has been a sieve all season long in Minnesota for a variety of reasons.
Matt Castle in the clear. He's got John Carlson inside the 10 of Seattle.
Just a vertical route by Carlson. Bad coverage out of the zone for Seattle. They've got their backups out there now on defense for the most part. Good hookup from Castle to Carlson.
A 30-yard gain. That's the 5th catch for Carlson. He leads all receivers in this game. And first and goal from the 9.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Matt Khalil. Back at the 14 now. Toby Gerhardt remains the running back. Gerhardt with the carry. It's back down to the 10-yard line. And Jennifer, what's going on?
Well, Chris, it's going to be a special day regardless of the score for Vikings tight end John Carlson. After this game, he'll be reunited with his cousin, Staff Sergeant Joshua Carlson, who was honored with a Purple Heart at halftime for his service to his country in Afghanistan. He was wounded there by a roadside bomb. The cousins have not had a chance to see each other since Joshua returned from active duty, so it promises to be an emotional reunion after the game, Chris.
Thank you, Jen, and a very proud moment for the Carlson family. Matt Castle with time and has to just get rid of it through the back of the end zone. The 12th man today raising the flag as part of the tradition here. Medal of Honor recipient and a Vietnam veteran, Bruce Crandall, who is a native of Washington State. The salute to service continues around NFL stadiums. Now 3rd and goal. Castle incomplete. Cordell Patterson is tall, but not that tall. It's 4th and goal. Cordell Patterson, I'm sorry, had his first receiving touchdown in that win over Washington. He, of course, has had a couple as a returner and got the start today for Leslie Frazier on 4th down and goal. Tipped and incomplete. The Seahawks will take over. Malcolm Smith knocking the ball away. One of the things around town, the fish market, where they get ready to cook the fish, you got to catch them first. And
big old king salmon.
Look at how big that fish is. But look at what about our guy Tim Ryan?
Oh, let's see that again.
No, how come it was a small fish? What happened to the large salmon for you?
I didn't get the big king in that one, did I?
We love to order seafood. Nice grab. That's how you catch fish. You reel them in. That's one way. That's one. Let's see. You want to see it again? Just take us through the grass.
Well, you never let it get to the body. That's the whole thing with the salmon.
Slippery. Well, you have big hands like Russell Wilson. You grasp that thing. Robert Turbin with the carry. And Minnesota going over things with 6.5 minutes to play. Interesting to mention how things can turn, Tim, at the start of the year. There's the final numbers on Russell Wilson. Look at spreading the ball around. The fact that your leading receiver, Golden Tate, can only have 1 catch, and you can dominate a game like this is impressive. The Vikings, a playoff team like Houston last year, starting out 2-7, like Atlanta last year. Both the Texans and Falcons losing today as Michael Robinson, the veteran fullback, gets the catch.
And the real issue, really, with a lot of the same players, and I know they miss Antoine Winfield and a couple of other guys from Minnesota, but the issue has been their defense all season long. And when you can't play good defense and you're giving up over 30 points a game, hard to keep your best player, Adrian Peterson, involved in the game plan for 4 quarters. And that was the story last year. 22 points a game. They were in just about every game. They won the close games, and they rode number 28 to the playoffs. Last 11 games for him, Chris, last year, 152 yards a game.
He was the MVP. He had over 2,000 yards and had a big target this year. Tavares Jackson incomplete. Intended for Turbin. No flags. It'll bring out the punting unit. Pete Carroll, each year that he's been here, Tim, this defense has gotten better and better and better. They'll have another chance to have another takeaway. Already 4 in this game. He's acting like we're in a 1-point game here. It's 41-13 with just over 5 minutes to play. Marcus Sherrills with a fair catch at the 40-yard line. 49ers with a 3-point lead in New Orleans. And let's look at the remaining schedule here for these teams. Seattle gets a bye, and then they'll play the Saints on Monday night. Then they're at San Francisco, at the Giants. They finish with home games against the Cards and Rams. And remember, today would make 13 consecutive home wins, which would be a franchise record for the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll was almost a Viking head coach in '92. It came down to him and Dennis Green.
Yep.
And they opted for Green. And of course, Pete thinks fondly of his years as a defensive backs coach in Minnesota in the mid-'80s to late
55.
89 under Bud Grant.
Of course, he never got a long enough shot with the New England Patriots, and even Robert Kraft will tell you that.
Almost another Seattle takeaway.
I've talked to Mr. Kraft in New England several times, and he said his biggest regret during the Pete Carroll era was giving up on Pete Carroll too fast.
Well, it's funny how you remember hearing he's too collegiate, too enthusiastic. Well, some coaches are thought of as too much of a disciplinarian. You have to do with whatever works and whatever is you. Here's that time in Minnesota as the defensive backs coach. Pete said, I got fired. I was out of a job. Bud brought me in. I learned about leadership and handling a team and a staff from Bud Grant, and that stayed with me. Gerhardt, who's run hard for the Vikings since coming in here in the fourth quarter. We mentioned Seahawks with the best record in the NFC. Let's update to the moment the playoff picture. Is it too early, Tim, to say that the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is going to go through Seattle?
Absolutely not. When you look at how loaded this team is, how they're getting healthier. Now, with the exception of an injury at a key position, the running back or the quarterback, clearly the front runner for the #1 seed in the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC right through here.
Castle's pass is caught for a first down by Cordero Patterson. And, you know, certainly Seattle will control things when they play San Francisco and New Orleans. You win those two if you're the Seahawks. And the bye coming at a perfect time for a team that went into the playoffs 2 games last year and hopes to extend further into the postseason this year.
And I was talking to Pete Carroll before the game, and he said, watch how we ratchet this thing up now in terms of getting ready for this playoff run. Take care of business today, get the bye week, get ready for that 5-game stretch, and then they'll really be able to unload Percy Harvin and all of his talents.
Toward the sideline for Patterson. Out of bounds. A tough throw.
We talked about coming in, if there was one weakness in Seattle defensively, it was their inability to control the ground game. Not today. They have bottled up Adrian Peterson unbelievably well. There's a big focus over the last 2 weeks on tackling, out-hitting the opponent. Pete Carroll talked about that to me before the game. And there have not been a lot of running lanes for Adrian Peterson. And when he has gotten out there, he's been unable to get yards after contact because of the emphasis and the improvement by the Seattle defenders tackling.
Toby Gerhardt gets the carry. And Gerhardt's going to get a Viking first down. Fighting hard to the 32-yard line. Gerhardt, who was a second-round draft pick out of Stanford, now in his 4th season. And that will give him almost, actually he has a few more yards than Adrian Peterson in this game. There's Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. Look at the smiles on that Seattle sideline. Knowing they get a bye week, Pete Carroll will give them some time to rest up. They're the healthiest they've been all season long. Pass complete. That's reserve tight end Chase Ford. Near another Viking first down. After an 11-yard gain, we talked a little bit about how difficult that Viking schedule is, Tim. And boy, that division with Green Bay losing today to the Giants, the Lions losing, and Chicago winning in overtime. Vikings could have a hand in that, but they have to decide on who their quarterback of the future is. Matt Castle. Jarius Wright with a touchdown. His second touchdown catch of the day and of the season. His 4th career touchdown catch.
But just gets him jumping the linebackers up in play action. He's just going to run over the top there right behind Malcolm Smith, the linebacker, in between the 3 deep coverage on the back end. Perfect throw from Castle. Touchdown.
21 yards, covering 60 yards in that drive. And the Vikings have 20 points on the board here in Seattle. Fox Sports Live at 11 Eastern. Look for it at Fox Sports 1. All the NFL, college football rankings, the up-to-the-moment BCS standings, plus NBA college hoops as well. In a way that only Fox can bring it to you. The OT coming up here with all the highlights. They'll sort out the standings as the Seahawks, if they get to play at home in the playoffs, in the postseason, all you got to do is win 2 at home, and you're in the big game, the Super Bowl, which you'll see on Fox from the Meadowlands in February.
And I think one thought, too, is after they go down and play San Francisco, they've got to travel out to play the New York Giants. That's not going to be an easy game now, as the Giants have won 4 consecutive and beaten the Packers today. But at the very least, that opportunity to get to the Super Bowl for Seattle, do a little trial run at that stadium. Of course, that's where the stadium is coming up here at the end of the whole thing.
You know, and people were concerned, Seattle with the Ram game, they should have lost. The Tampa Bay game in overtime here, they should have lost. Richard Sherman said, we're getting the best shot from everybody. If you don't play your best and you still win a game, that's a sign of a good football team. Seahawks are on the football. And I think it was Russell Wilson who said, you know, we hit the restart button as well as any team in the league. Whatever the expectations are, you don't lower yourself to the level of competition. You rise above it. Seahawks certainly did today.
Well, the bottom line with this team is they got really good players at most positions. They're able to plug guys in, not drop off a lot in terms of, you know, their ability and their talents with the second teamers. They've won a lot of games with backup players at key positions. And there's ownership. I mean, Russell Wilson's leadership qualities on this football team, it's unbelievable.
Sidney Rice goes down. They don't miss a beat. The offensive linemen were out. They keep on rolling. Robert Turbin carries here.
I mean, think about this story for Russell Wilson, and we've known all along how committed this guy is. I mean, he missed a play to Golden Tate in a game and went out and worked on it 50 times after practice, got it right, went up to the players and the coaches after and said, I won't miss that one again all year long.
He seeks perfection, and at home, the Seahawks are getting it. Back in Seattle at bonus coverage, and you'll be interested in the 49ers Saint game. Just over 2 minutes to go. San Francisco leading by 3. Seahawks with the football here, and under 2 minutes to play. Happy birthday. Robert Turbin. He will not get the first down. You saw the pregame show, the NFL on Fox. They talked about the 12th man. It was great to hear from some of the fans. Rainn Wilson, the Seattle native actor, a part of that. Carissa Thompson talking about the great impact fans have for this Seahawk football team. Today's game, a Mike Burks production, directed by Michael Frank, Associate Director Brian Biederman, Broadcast Associate Mike Strack. Our thanks to Frank Phillips, Tom Maslek, Kevin McCloskey. Always great audio.
Green, great.
Got a little bit there. Turbin gets the first down. And in video, Rob Levy, Mark Brooks, Don Vermillion, and Pat Cavallero. The studio show produced by Bill Richards, directed by Stephanie Medina. Best start in team history continues as the Seahawks are going to 10-1. And they've won 15 of their last 16 regular season games. Russell Wilson has never lost at home as a professional player. And they set a franchise record, 13 straight home wins across the board for the Seattle Seahawks.
How about all the prognosticators that thought Russell Wilson couldn't play in pro football? He's too short. Please.
He's had a big impact. And with a week of rest, they'll get ready to take on the Saints and then go to San Francisco and go to play the Giants. That same location at the Meadowlands where the Super Bowl will be held.
We talked about it coming into the game, that their run defense was their really only issue on that side of the ball. They got that fixed today against Adrian Peterson.
The Seahawks winners. For Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, our entire crew. Let's check in with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.